So UFC Fight Night, what was it? Allen versus Curtis 2. Oh man, I can't believe it was that. Just took place last night, so I'm gonna be going through the entire card from start to finish and giving my thoughts on what happened and just like a review and breakdown of each fight. And starting off, Melissa Mullins, Nora Kernol. Uh, this one was just Nora Kernol was just better. Mullins got Mullins got the takedown, was able to control her really easily. Cornell landed a good knee to the body that just crumpled Mullins, and then Cornell landed like back-to-back head kicks that just dropped her, and she just like crumpled against the cage. Great win from Cornell. It was a plus 300 underdog, so if you bet on that, then congratulations, you fluked it. But yeah, great win from Cornell. Moving on, Cesar Almeida versus Dylan Budka. I don't know what Cesar Almeida did to improve his takedown defense that much at the age of 36. But Dylan Budka, just could not get him to the ground. I mean, he was able to, but just didn't do anything with it. Wasn't doing damage. And eventually Cesar Almeida was just stuffing the takedowns and just started doing like kind of what Pereira did to Prohaska at the end of the fight before the finish. Elbows to the side of the head that just crumpled Budka. And, he got the finish in the second round. Great win from Almeida. I want to see more of him, and hopefully Dylan Budka just learns to, I don't know, control people better. Have this motherfucker work on his jiu-jitsu. Next up. I started out 0-2 on this card. Oof, that was a rough start. But we bounced back with John Matsumoto versus Dan Argueta. I can't say it was scrappy. High-paced, really high-paced fight, back and forth grappling transitions. Argueta had the advantage in the wrestling and the grappling. However, Matsumoto was able to reverse positions and even get takedowns of his own. And at the end of the second round, Argueta, shot in at a really sloppy takedown attempt, and Matsumoto jumped in on an arm and guillotine, and Argueta tapped at the last second, and when he let go, it was clear Argueta was out. He was out for a second. And so when Argueta came to, it was, that was it. I kind of feel bad for Argueta because you got to admit that fight against Lawrence, it should have been a submission. The ref stepped in too early. And then Miles, back-to-back no contests. I'd say give him like one last chance, dude. Give him another chance. He would have had a submission on his record if it wasn't for the ref stopping it early. But, great one from John Matsumoto. Undefeated. There's a lot of undefeated bantamweights. Like, good undefeated. There's a lot of just good bantamweights. And speaking of bantamweights and good bantamweights, let's go up next. Victor Hugo versus Pedro Falcao. I got this one right. I think it switched up when I made the prediction. I don't know. I picked Victor Hugo, and I was right. Falcao was in that first round, he was able to take Hugo down and get his back really super easily. So one thing I gotta say is both of these guys are good. Falcao has some really good transitions. He was able to take Hugo down. It was his only takedown, but he's able to get him down in the first round, and he was able to take the back almost instantly. But Hugo was able to escape the back, and he was able to get it back on the feet. And from there on, he just controlled most of the fight. A lot of kind of fouls. There were a couple low blows, but the ref didn't see it. But all in all, Hugo still had the advantage in the striking. In the last round, at the beginning of the last round, Hugo landed a good check hook that dropped Falcao, and I think that just kind of solidified the fight for him. So great win from Hugo. Great win. All in all, he's a really great prospect. I think he's only 30 he's 30 years old with 30 fights on his record. Incredible win. Great performance. Showed a lot of skill out there. And Falcao, while he was tired and he was kind of crotch sniffing a bit, he took it on real short notice. He probably didn't have the cardio to go 5 rounds, and he was getting chewed up to the body. His body was getting beat up, spinning wheel kicks to the body. So he probably gassed out really early. But you know he's got some good grappling, and I kind of want to see more from Petro Falcao. It wasn't bad from either. Norma Dumont versus Jermaine Rendamine. Shit. That's all I'm gonna say. Shit. I want to talk about this one. Walter Walker versus Lucas Brzezinski. First off, Walter Walker. He's just fat. He's just fat. He's just fat. However, I do think he should have gotten the first and the third. Cause the first he landed like good thudding shots that were just were like making an impact on Brzezinski's face. You could see just like you couldn't see, but you could hear the shots that were making. I gotta say, Walter Walker has a good double leg. He was landing the double leg at will. If he shot it, he got it. And in the third, I thought he had a dominant position. He took Brzezinski's back. He was able to take him down again at will. At the very end of the round, Brzezinski reversed position, landed like a couple pitter-pat shots, and then Walker reversed the position again, got a hold of the back. And I thought it should have been 29-28 Walker. Regardless, Walker sucks. He's just another fat heavyweight. I didn't think he was just going to be straight fat, like a fat heavyweight, because he looks like he has some muscle on him, but apparently he's just a fat heavyweight. And, it just wasn't a good fight. But, yeah. Good win for Brzezinski. He saved his career. And, moving on. Alex Morono versus Court McGee. I got this one right. Morono was just better, younger. He landed the better shots in round 1 and 3. Hurt Court McGee in round 1. He landed a good right hand, and it was kind of the same thing in round 3. He was just landing good right hands. Not the best fight, but it was a fight, and I got the pick right, so I can't be mad. He lost the second round because he jumped the guillotine, and Court McGee got out of it. I thought the guillotine was in. I thought he was going to get it, but it is what it is. I still got my pick right. So what would I be on this card? I picked Norma Dumont. So I'd be 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, 4-3. All right, I'm 4. I start out 4-3. 5-3, by the way, 5-3. I got this one right. It was great scrap from Campbell and Peak. It was honestly a really good fight, back and forth. Both fighters had their moment, but it just on the feet, Charlie Campbell was just slicker, longer, just better. But Trevor Peak had some moments where he was hurting Charlie Campbell. But anytime that would happen, Charlie Campbell, he showed his wrestling in this fight. He showed some good wrestling. He was able to take Trevor Peak down, and he was able to keep him down. Get advanced positions sometimes. Great fight from both. If you're a Trevor Peak fan, this one hurts. Everyone loves Trevor Peak. But, Trevor Peak said he's been training with Dwayne Ludwig. We all know who Dwayne Ludwig trained. He trained that main man, TJ Dillashaw. So imagine if we get Trevor Peak in the future with that TJ Dillashaw striking. The sky's the limit for him right now. All right? The sky's the limit. But yeah, great fight from both. Next up, Bahamondes versus Christos Giagos, 6-3. Let's fucking go. Bahamondes smoked him. He was landing at will. Was chewing up the leg and the body. Hurt him at one point early on with I think it was either a straight right or a left hook, and then some time passes, and then he just lands a flush head kick that just puts Giagos out cold. He slept Giagos. Landed a flush head kick that put Giagos out. Ref stops it. He learned that he had legs again. Just starts throwing kicks to the head, dude. Just start throwing kicks to the head and front kicks. Great performance. Bilal Muhammad. Okay, let's be clear. Charles Radke sleeps Gilbert Urbina with a flush left hook. Bahamondes sleeps Giagos with a flush head kick. Both of them were trained by Bilal Muhammad. I don't know what Bilal Muhammad's doing with these guys, but he needs to start doing what he's training these guys to do. Because whatever like explosive ass training they're working on to generate this much power, he needs to start doing because it's working. Okay, both of them trained. Radke and Bahamondes trained with Bilal, and then they both got crazy round one knockouts after training with Bilal. Okay, great fight all in all. Love to see it. Good win from Bahamondes. Want to see more of him. Moving on. This is where it's Walter Walker and Brzezinski was kind of the start of the controversial, dodgy scoring. A lot of people thought this one was a robbery. I don't. I thought Chepe Mariscal barely edged out that first round because I thought he had more of the control time in the first round and he outlanded him in the first round. One thing I will say, Morgan Charrier, he's a lot better than I gave him credit for. Okay, he's better than I gave him credit for. He went out there. He showed good. I think one thing I'll say is Charrier, I think, is the more technically skilled fighter, but I think Chepe Mariscal just was able to just grit him out. He got in that dirty boxing range, started throwing hands. He outlanded into the legs and the head, chewed up the leg. I think he barely edged out Charrier in the first round. And that second round was clear Charrier, I think. And I thought that third round was a very clear Mariscal because, I thought he was outlanding Charrier. And, towards the end, he started the last 20 seconds, he was landing like a flurry of punches on the ground. He was controlling and beating him up on the ground. Just repeated punches. So, all in all, great win for Mariscal. And a great performance from Charrier. He thought he did better than I thought he was going to do. But 30-27 Charrier is worse than 29-28 Mariscal. A lot worse. Because I thought Mariscal clearly took that last round. 30-27 Charrier is the judges saying, this guy's a star, let's try and push him. Same thing with this next fight. Same thing with these next two fights, actually. Some dodgy scoring. Alright? Alexander Hernandez versus Damon Jackson. I got this one wrong. I got the last two wrong. Alexander Hernandez just, for the first two rounds, he was scared to let his hands go. Didn't really want to do anything. Fighting too patient. He lost the first round. In the second round, he was starting to land more, but at the end, Jackson was able to take his back, was threatening with chokes, and then the last 20 seconds, he just started throwing shots, landing good shots on Hernandez. So I gave rounds 1 and 2 to Jackson, but the third round, Hernandez dropped him. And if Hernandez was just not so tentative and so afraid to let his hands go, he would have outlanded Jackson, and he would have been able to drop him sooner, I believe. But all in all, great one from Jackson. Did much better than I expected. I thought Hernandez was going to be able to do it because he's much better. I thought he was the much more physical fighter, much more explosive, much more gifted naturally. And I thought he had all the skills to do it. And he did, but, he just didn't do enough. At the end of the day, great win from Jackson, great win from both. Moving on. Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis. Now, this is where a lot of the let me fucking pause this shit, dude. I don't care about that. Jesus. Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis. I thought Chris Curtis won. And I thought that, at the end of the 5th round where Brendan Allen hurt Chris Curtis, I don't think he really landed anything that did enough to really damage Chris Curtis at the end of that 5th round. So I thought Chris Curtis took rounds 2, 3, and 5. One judge scored at 49-46 Allen. If it should have been 49-46 anybody, it should have been 49-46 Curtis. There's more of an argument for that than Allen. Curtis was able to hurt Allen, and he outlanded Allen bad, really, really good in that second round. And in that third round, he hurt Allen with that big check hook. Like that like whipped Allen's head around and had Allen stumbling around, legs buckled. Fourth round, Allen had... The story of the fight is, if Allen got Curtis to the ground and got his back, Curtis would very easily get his shoulders to the mat and then reverse a position. I thought since he was reversing position so much, he was outlanding Brendan Allen. Let's just say how it is. Chris Curtis is just much better of a striker than Brendan Allen. And you know what? I thought Chris Curtis did enough to get the victory. The judge who scored at 49-46 Allen needs to be investigated, and I don't care what he says, unless he said, I got a gun put to my head, and if they said they would kill my family if I didn't score at 49-46 Allen. Well, if he doesn't say that, and he just says, I thought Allen won 4-1, kill him. But great win from Chris Curtis. Oh, not great win from Chris Curtis. What? Chris Curtis basically won. Okay, I don't care. I'll die on this hill. Again, that fifth round was close. Looking back on it, I can understand a 48-47 Brendan Allen. I can understand if you wanted to give Allen rounds 1, 4, and 5. You cannot argue rounds 2 and 3 Allen, though. You just can't. Anyone who thinks Allen 1-4-1 is stupid. Okay? If you want to argue Allen won rounds 1, 4, and 5, I'll give you that. Yes. Okay. I can understand that. I thought Chris Curtis won rounds 2, 3, and 5. Close fight, but I think if Allen fights Vettori at this point, Vettori's going to school him. Well, not school him. I think Vettori's going to beat the fuck out of him. Specifically because Vettori just, unlimited cardio, can just throw it at an unreasonable pace. Granite chin. I don't think Allen has near enough power to do anything to Vettori like Cannonier did. So I think you rebook Brendan Allen versus Marvin Vettori. Chris Curtis, give him, I'd say give him give him like a boxer. Give him like a bounce back fight just to get him back in the win column. But give him some time off. Chris Curtis, he pulled his hamstring in the second round. He was able to push forward through it. And right at the end, he tore his hamstring. Brendan Allen did not tear Chris Curtis's hamstring. Chris Curtis tore his own hamstring. I don't know. I think Chris Curtis won. I can understand if you think 3-2 Allen. If you say 4-1 Allen, you can go fuck yourself. He didn't win 4-1. But I can understand 3-2. I don't agree with it, but I can understand that perspective. But all in all, much better fight than I was expecting. Much better fight night than I was expecting. Great knockouts. This was a scrap. Marius Galashari was a scrap. Alan Curtis was a scrap. The prelims were okay. Hugo Falcao was good. Matsumoto Argueta was good. Boring. I didn't even watch this one. I couldn't bear to watch it. I actually could not bear to watch it. I don't know why Jermaine Durandamine came back. Almeida Budka, it was boring until Almeida started just hitting him. All in all, great fights. Much better than I expected. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.